Hi, and welcome to the ABQ Show. I'm Wally Drangmeister, and today our guest is Stephen Turner of Best Staff Solutions. Stephen, great to have you here.
Thank you for having us. Appreciate you.
Okay, tell us what type of company is Best Staff and what is it you do?
All right, Best Staff is a staff augmentation service. So we provide a variety of services to companies in the respect of personnel.
Yes.
So we can provide personnel in a variety of forms. The industry was born out of the need for temporary employees.
Right.
So we're referred to as a temporary employer. However, temporary, in the true sense of temporary, short-term peak workload is only about 5% representation of our business right now. The majority of our business is long-term temp to perm assignments. Companies that are looking for employees but may not have the wherewithal to find those employees on their own, either do not have a large HR department,
Right.
do not have advertising revenue, and so we can find the people and provide them to that company, and then that company can try them before they buy them,
Yes.
and then convert them onto their payroll when they're comfortable.
So, labor is in our capitalist society, there's supply and demand in play. So talk to me about how that is playing out in the Albuquerque area. Where's unemployment, and are there more employees and jobs by a great deal, or is it the other way around right now?
It varies from skill set to skill set. We started in 2009, so that was coming off of
That was a low point.
Very low point. And we have had year over year increases,
Yes.
steady increases. We knew that the recovery from this downturn was going to be a long ramp.
Right.
The difference with this particular downturn in the economy as opposed to others were that it was sort of all-encompassing.
Right.
The ones previous in the late 70s and the 80s, you had the oil downturn,
Right.
and then you had the dot-com downturn. This one was sort of all-encompassing,
Yes.
and companies had that very distasteful
Experience of
having to lay off a lot of people.
Exactly.
We knew that there was going to be a recovery, it was going to be slow, and that the work was still going to be there,
Right.
even though maybe the funding to hire all of these people back wasn't going to be there immediately.
Yes.
And so, everybody thought, well, you guys are kind of crazy starting a staffing company when everything's down, but we really built the first several years on helping companies recover from that downturn. And so they were able to get people back to work and keep their wheels turning, keep their core products going, keep their services provided, while not having that final commitment.
Right.
Because there was an election year coming up. We didn't know if things were going to be better for 6 months, for long term. But like I said, the wheels had to turn, the business had to go on. And so we provided that bridge for them to start getting back on their feet.
Well, it was interesting during you talking about elections. I've read some things with regard to employment, as a lot of businesses were waiting until elections are over to make permanent decisions. The other thing that's interesting about that was that they said, well, does it make a difference who wins, whether you're going to hire or not? No, not necessarily, but we just don't want uncertainty. And I mean, it just
Right.
weighed on business people's mind.
Heavily.
Yes.
It surely did. It surely did.
So talk a little bit about how you find the employees and what that process is, and also, what are the skill sets that are in real demand right now with the companies that you serve?
Okay. So I'll tackle the second part first.
You bet.
Skill sets in demand, it's really geography dictated.
Okay.
In Albuquerque, there's a lot of manufacturing.
Okay.
There's a lot of R&D with both laboratories located here. There's a lot of electronics.
Okay.
So
It's those high-tech skills,
it's the high-tech skills.
Yeah, and not even always high, but tech skills.
Well,
so
tech skills,
Yeah.
and granted, we're a full-service provider.
Right.
So we provide everything from administrative and clerical to IT services to designers, drafters, engineers. The companies here are fluxing all the time. Manufacturing needs come and go and change, and so we provide a really good ability for them to right-size their staff based on any need. Now, one of the ways we do that is we have a variety of different search tools. A lot of them are paid. A lot of them are not paid. And again, this goes back to companies that maybe don't have those resources to go out and find, particularly hard to find skill sets. And so we can utilize our tools. Also, we have a database that has grown now for 9.5 years. We have a couple of different types of employees that come to us. We have employees that are right out of school, don't have a lot of experience, would like to get their foot in the door. And so we can provide that ability with our contacts to get them in the door, allow them to prove their mettle to the companies, and then hopefully work into a permanent position. We have others that, for whatever reason, maybe they're a teacher. They have the summer off. And so, we can provide some supplemental work for those types of people. And then, we also provide direct placement services. And our direct placement services are more of a higher level, C-level executives, high-level engineers, and it's a longer sales cycle. The companies are having us go out and find the people, vet the people, get the people in front of them, and then they hire them direct from day one.
Yeah, and that service sometimes called headhunting, but it's not the best term in the world, but that's an idea about what it is.
Absolutely.
Yes. So what if somebody is seeking employment on the employee side? How do they get your attention, and how do you vet them, and how does that process work?
So for employees, we provide a good service. We have a variety of different tools that we use to reach them. We have Facebook, Twitter, we have our own website. And then whenever we open a position, not only do we post it to our website, but we post it to a variety of different websites, such as Career Builder. Indeed, there's a lot of big ones out there. And so we'll provide it to those sites, and then the potential employees are looking and searching for positions. They find it, contact us, and then really all we need to get started is a resume. If a person has a resume and can provide us with that resume, we'll get that into our system. We'll act as an extra set of eyes and ears, looking for opportunities that match that person's background. Anytime we identify an opportunity, we contact that individual, let them know the details about the position, about our history with that company, about potential pay, and then if they're interested, we get their resume in front of the right person, the decision makers, and they review, determine whether they want to interview, which will coordinate the interview, and eventually get them hired. And an important point to make too is there's never a cost to an individual for us to take their resume and get them placed at a company.
That was going to be my question. So it does not cost the employee anything.
It does not cost the employee anything.
Now what about on the employer side? How, what's the process if I need a job or two, a different type? What's the process that I would use as a business owner to get that going on your side?
Absolutely. So business owner, HR manager, engineering manager, anybody that really has a true need for an employee can contact us. We have several mechanisms to do that. We have a place on our website where they can actually contact us, let us know a little bit about what they're looking for. They can email us or they can call us and say, hey, we've got this potential need. This is what we're looking for. This is what our outlook on longevity would be. What would be the best way for us to get an individual? And then we can help them. We can help them create a good, solid job description. We get the job description posted. We get resumes. We go through the individual vetting process, making sure that the person has the skills that they project on their resume. We submit the resume to that person, to that end manager, and then they have the option to request an interview or say, I don't think this is the best fit for our need.
Yeah, in the companies you work with on those interviews, are those do they typically do a first screening interview by phone, or do they tend to do in person, or is it a little bit of both?
It varies. Some of the positions that are maybe manufacturing type positions
Right.
that are unique. Now, a lot of our clients have very unique processes and products. And so really it's difficult for them to say, we want somebody to come in that has this experience.
Right.
Because unless they've worked there, they really don't have that experience. So in that case, they'll give us some fundamental basic needs that individual needs to have.
Right.
Good math skills, whatever it may be, but not necessarily core experience.
Right.
In those cases, a lot of times they'll let us find the individuals and place them without even an interview.
Oh, okay, yeah.
We go ahead and place them, and then they train them.
Yes.
As long as they pass our pre-employment requirements. And by that I mean we drug screen and background check everybody that we hire. So as long as they can pass those two things, then we can place them. Other clients that have more specialized skills, then we will go ahead and coordinate an on-site interview at the client facility. We do all the legwork between the client and the employee to get them to that interview and be prepared for that interview.
Right.
And then we have others where if it's a direct placement, that person may not necessarily be local. We utilize telephone or Skype interviews as an initial means to break down the barrier and get the communication flow started. And then if that goes well, then we'll have them come in for an in-person interview.
Okay. Well, I hear a lot of crazy stories, and I'll ask you when we come back from the break about a couple of those and some hints for people looking for a job that you've seen. But we're visiting with Stephen Turner of Best Staff here on the ABQ Show. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
What is glamour? Frailty. What is desire? Diamonds. They say a life lived without passion is hardly worth living.
Ma'am? Ma'am? Ma'am?
Dang, this one made me feel all special.
Locally loved restaurants like Farina Pizzeria, Farina Alto, and the Artichoke Cafe are the perfect venue for your next event. Farina Alto has traditional Italian food plus handcrafted cocktails in a beautiful Northeast Heights location. Farina Pizzeria with a downtown vibe, amazing affordable wines, and local beer. And the Artichoke Cafe has set the standard for casual fine dining since 1989. Visit our family of restaurants and see what fine dining is all about.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walk up to the cashier, order up a root beer and a #1. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
The New Mexico High School Coaches Association, established in 1941, is an organization of New Mexico's best and most professional interscholastic coaches. Coaches across work daily to help our student athletes excel in the classroom, on the field of play, and in our communities. Students that participate in interscholastic activities attain higher grades, higher graduation rates, and higher wages. Responsible for the North-South All-Star Games, statewide Coaches Award Program, and providing multiple professional development opportunities for New Mexico's coaches. Be a great coach by coaching beyond the game.
At New Mexico Highlands University, you're more than a student, you're family. Whether you're taking courses in Las Vegas, Santa Fe, Rio Rancho, Albuquerque, or Farmington, you'll get that one-on-one attention to inspire you to reach your goals. Let New Mexico Highlands help take your passion and accelerate it into a career and fulfilling life path. Find out why New Mexico Highlands is the right choice for you. Log on to newmexicohighlands.com today.
All of your New Mexico high school sports coverage.
Welcome back to the ABQ Show. We're visiting with Stephen Turner of Best Staff. Stephen, talk to me about, as a job seeker, what are some things to keep in mind? You mentioned that you work with potential employees of all different backgrounds, but what are some things to keep in mind? How the resume, how does that help you get hired? Some interviewing skills. What are some tips for folks that are in the process that look for employment?
So I'm glad you asked that question. One of the things that people don't necessarily understand immediately is the landscape is vastly different for job hunters than when you and I were just out of school looking for jobs. It's really next to impossible. When we were out of school, we'd get our resume and we'd go company to company to company. We'd hand them our resume, and if you were lucky, somebody would talk to you. It's almost impossible to do that today. Most companies, if not all, say, "Hey, we've got a place on our website. Send your resume in." Okay. So the majority of submitting resumes, whether it's to a company directly, to Best Staff, is done electronically. One of the things that is utilized is what's called a parser. Okay, so there are parsing programs that basically accept the resume and put it into your system. Parsers are real finicky. So what I would say is one good tip is if you're creating a resume, create 2 versions. Have one that you're going to use for online and one that you're going to hand to somebody.
And that online one needs to be very simple,
it
right?
Needs to be, It needs to be text-based.
Exactly.
It needs to be plain, simple font. The pictures and the embellishments and all of those things really confuse the parsers. And a lot of times what you're sending in may not be what's received on our end with that. So a good plain text-only resume for online, and then when you get to the interview, you take that one that is your bang up hot stuff.
This on nice paper, nice formatted, and all of that.
Absolutely, absolutely. So that would be one thing that I would suggest. And get your resume into as many places as you can. I mean, it makes sense. You'd rather have 5 offers than no offers. So. That would be what I would suggest on the resume side.
Well, in so many things in our modern world, they're still about people, still about relationships, but that technology always plays a part now.
Big part.
Yeah, talk a little bit about on both the employer and the employee side. I would think now it would be very important if you want a job in a certain industry, you want to describe your skills the way that industry describes the skills.
Exactly. And also, going back to the parser, a lot of the way the parsers work, when we're doing a search, is it's based on the number of hits of a particular skill in your resume. So if you're creating a resume, it's going to be a format where you have your contact information, and then you have each of the jobs you performed. But I would also suggest that you break out a separate section called a skills section. And if you use Microsoft Word, put that in the skills section. Now, if you use Microsoft Word at job 1, job 3, and job 5, also include it there. What you've done now is when we're searching for someone with Microsoft Word experience, you've gotten 5 hits as opposed to 1 or none. So I would say, create a separate section with all of your skills, be thorough in your summary of what you've done. The other thing that really has changed is for many years we were told don't have more than a 1-page resume. Don't have more than a 1-page resume. That is not true. I need to know what you can do in order to tell our clients what you can do. If it takes 1 page, perfect. If it takes 2 pages, no problem. You have to be as thorough as possible in letting us know what you can do so that we can represent you to our clients and market you in the best possible light.
So, there's a number of ways to do resumes. Some people go just skills, and sometimes if you haven't done much in the way of work, it's good to lead with that. But so you would recommend for people that have been around for a while to still do the chronology of their major employment, but also have that skills section to make sure that those skills that you have are for sure at least one place.
Absolutely. So at least from in my opinion, objectives, if you're young and you don't have a lot of experience, a great solid objective statement is good. If you've been a mechanical engineer for 15 years and you're applying for mechanical engineering, you really don't need an objective. Utilize that space to your benefit. I prefer chronological, and our clients prefer chronological because they're looking at someone based on a piece of paper. So they want to know, what you can do, where you've been, and what you've done when you've been there.
Yes.
So, a contact information, education, skills, and a chronology.
Right.
That's what I think would be best served in a resume.
All right, let's talk a little bit about the company. I know Best Staff, it's on the logo on your shirt, good looking logo. The BES are larger letters. Tell us about how that came about, what that means, because I think it's a cool story.
Okay, cool. So Best Staff, we're a New Mexico small business.
Right.
We're about 9.5 years old. We're going to be celebrating our 10th anniversary this October. It was founded by 3 individuals, Brian, Edward, and myself, Stephen.
Okay.
And so we took the first letter of each of our names and we made them big, just as kind of a little play. But it is Best Staff,
Yes.
and that's kind of how that story came up.
All right, very good. Now, I know community service, being a part of the community is really big for your organization. Talk about some of the things you do above and beyond the core service of great service for your clients and those seeking jobs.
So, I really consider myself highly fortunate, extremely fortunate. I have 2 partners that share a belief in altruism. We put a lot of focus on the youth. We've all virtually grown up here in Albuquerque. Right. We all went to high school together. We all graduated from the same high school, played football together. And so, we take a lot of stock in the youth. One of the things that we've done is we've, I believe, given now 5 or 6 scholarships to APS seniors. Okay. I think we had one kid that went to Harvard, another one that's at Smith College in Boston pursuing a fantastic young lady, pursuing a law degree. And we have supported things like the Lobo Club, the APS Foundation, American Cancer Association, American Diabetes Association. And on top of just monetary contributions, we've also, all 3 of us have provided a lot of our time to youth through YAFL, Little League, high school, from freshman through varsity, as head coaches, as mentors, as sort of leaders for the youth. So that's a big thing for us. We really want to use our company. We're a for-profit company.
Right.
Let's be serious. We got to put food on the table. Right. But we also want to use our company as a vehicle to help youngsters grow up and develop into good citizens. We want to improve the community. So those are things of importance to us.
Right. Very, very good. Now it brings to mind something that comes up in job hunting and trying to attract, what you described as super youth-oriented activities that are out there. What about for job seekers, both younger and those that have been in the workplace for a while? What about putting hobbies and interests? Should they do it? Shouldn't they do it? What is your thoughts on that? Because it seems like sometimes those things that are your interest above and beyond work may be just as important to finding the right job on both sides as the things that are in the more formal
absolutely.
section.
So you're talking on a resume.
Yes.
Absolutely. So I think it goes back to common sense. If you have room, a younger person starting out may not have as much experience. Those are all connections. Right. That's what it's all about, is connections. How do we connect with people? And there may be something that is an interest or a hobby or a sport that you can put on there that someone that's considering employing you may catch their eye. So absolutely, I would encourage that.
Yeah, and if you're young and you've, maybe do high school football, debate team, student council, at least they know you've worked in a group setting and you at least have had exposure to working with others. Maybe you do it well, maybe you don't, but at least it's something there that's not going to be brand new for you.
They're all skills.
Yes.
You hear people say, well, I don't know how to sell. Hey, everybody knows how to sell. We sell every day.
Yes.
That's what we do. So there are skills that may not come to a young person's mind that they have, that as a person looking for would be able to correlate. Well, hey, like you said, they were in DECA, so obviously they have some business acumen. They understand. They may not give themselves enough credit. And that's another thing too, that not only younger people. I mean, I've found the hardest thing to do. I remember before we started Best Staff, I worked for an international staffing company for 22 years. And when that company sold off and I found myself not working, and I had to rewrite my resume, I'm going, I wrote a copy, I sent it to someone, and I said, hey, what do you think about this? One of my peers. And they said, well, what are you doing? You know, you do this every day for a living.
Right.
You know, the hardest thing we can do is sell ourselves. Yeah. You know, we're so afraid to sound boastful, or we're so afraid that, you know, if you can do something, put it down. And that's what they have to get over, is that, you know, and that goes back to what we were talking about, you know, not understanding that this skill is a skill that's valuable.
Yes.
So don't discount anything that you can do.
Well, and you know, I've helped a number of people over the years with their resumes, and that having a little external perspective sometimes can be super helpful.
Super helpful.
You know, I had a daughter that had a college job working like at a business development center. And so, and her resume said, answer the phone at the business development center. And I said, you know, what did you really do? Well, people would come in, and then I would talk to them about what their business goals were, and then I would help them to find the right programs, and, you know, a whole different ball game. Yeah. But, you know, I think there's this thing in some of us, and all of us get it, even if you lack humility more than is appropriate, like maybe in my case. But we don't necessarily look at things objectively.
We don't.
Yeah, and we're a little shy about it. And don't you think having that kind of mentor, somebody that knows you and knows what your skills are, help you put it in the right words?
Most definitely. Toot your own horn, and or have someone help you toot your own horn.
Yes.
And yeah, I agree wholeheartedly.
All right. So the world is a very technological place now. There's a lot of things going on, but there's still these soft skills that are so important. And I've read things over the years that say, you know, people are hired for hard skills and let go for soft skills. Talk to me about those soft skills and, you know, things like being able to communicate well, talking with others, working in a team. You know, where does that play in, and, you know, how important is that to employers? So
yeah, it is important. Communication is key.
Right.
You have to be able to communicate. You have to be able to convey your points. One of the things that one of my partners really shared with me was, have a friend sit down and interview you.
Practice.
Interviews. Practice. I mean, we talk about football,
yes.
sports. You do it over and over.
Yeah.
How about an interview? I mean, you're going to go to an interview without being prepared. So
Yeah.
get somebody to ask you questions that you aren't expecting, so that you can answer them appropriately.
Yep.
So practice is a key.
All right, great. Well, we've been talking with Stephen Turner, Best Staff. It's a great conversation. I can see why you guys are successful. If you're looking for a job, if you're looking for employees, I think these guys would be great. Tell us real quick your website, and it's been great visiting with you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Our website is www.beststaffjobs.com, and we'd love to work with you.
All right, thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Really enjoyed it.
Appreciate you.